It's monstrously unjust. A husband or boyfriend kills in a fit of rage, then blames his victim to wriggle out of a murder charge. It's called the provocation defence. The man says that his wife or girlfriend drove him to it, that she was a nag or cheat. And that's all the excuse he needs to get his murder charge reduced to manslaughter and to receive a much lighter sentence. It's a licence to kill. Yet our courts are buying it, letting the meanest and most brutal in our society get away with murder. In a quiet suburb of Ipswich, west of Brisbane, Gary Mills keeps a low profile. And that's not surprising, because there are plenty of people who believe Gary Mills should spend the rest of his life in jail for strangling and suffocating his wife Jolene.
Mr Mills, hi, how are you? Tara Brown from 60 Minutes.
How you doing?
Good. In the killing of your wife, did you get away with murder? No answer?
Gary Mills served just 5 years for his terrible crime. And he's not alone. One of a long line of men who kill women and all but get away with murder, instead convicted for the lesser crime of manslaughter. Damian Sibo bludgeoned his ex-girlfriend Taryn Hunt to death, sentenced to only 8 years. Chamanjot Singh butchered his wife Manpreet Kaur, cutting her throat as she begged for mercy, jailed for just 6 years. Peter Keogh stabbed his ex-partner Vicky Cleary to death, jailed for just 3 years and 11 months. All these men and many more like them have escaped a murder conviction by claiming they were provoked into killing the women in their lives, what's known as the provocation defence.
Australians need to understand this, that you can kill your wife and get anywhere between 4 and 8 years in jail. They are the facts of the matter.
The provocation defence is a legal relic that's centuries old. The question is, does it have any place in modern Australia? Because all too often it's being used as an excuse by a man who kills a woman because of something she's alleged to have said or done. And because she is dead, we have only his word to rely on. Clearly, he has the most to gain by blaming his victim, ruining her reputation, making sure she's the one on trial.
She was quite a compassionate and emotional girl, which is why, people were drawn to her.
Jennifer Tierney's 16-year-old daughter Taryn was savagely killed in 2005 by her 28-year-old ex-boyfriend, Damian Sibo. Still friends, they were out together the night Jennifer got a panicked call from Damian.
And quite a rushed phone call, urgent, sort of telling me, Jen, wake up, something's happened. And he said, just get to the hospital. Taryn might not make it.
When Jennifer arrived at the hospital, Taryn was already undergoing emergency surgery for devastating head injuries. Meanwhile, Damian Sibo was trying to claim Taryn must have been bashed by a stranger after he dropped her off on a deserted stretch of road.
And I started to question him and said, what happened? I don't believe you. I don't believe you would have left her there. You're lying to me.
So he was still sticking to this story that it wasn't him?
Yeah.
That he hadn't done this?
Yeah. And then that was the last of the story, actually, because I became quite emotional and started yelling and telling him I didn't believe him, that he was lying to me. And what had he done?
Only when it's clear witnesses saw them together does Sibo finally confess to police.
You're driving me crazy.
I mean, I'm driving you crazy.
He claims he and Taryn had argued about her seeing other men, and in a rage he grabbed the car's steering wheel lock and repeatedly bashed the young woman in the back of the head. But by the time police take him back to the scene of the crime, Sibo is already blaming Taryn for bringing it on herself.
And she goes, well, I cheated on you, so go and use it. It's not going to stop or something. That's one thing I've come across with it. It's got blood on my hands and on my shirt, and then that's really stressed, and I thought, oh my God, I've done something totally wrong.
The impact was so great that it shattered, the back of her skull and all radiated all the way through to the frontal lobes.
When you saw her in hospital, did you think she could make it?
I thought it would be a very slim chance if she did.
It doesn't stop you hoping though, does it?
No. We actually got quite excited when she was in the hospital for 2 days, and she'd grabbed onto my hand at one stage, and I was quite excited.
Never regaining consciousness, Taryn died 2 days after the attack, surrounded by her family. It must have been a horrible 2 days.
It was the worst of my life, actually. Yeah. You just don't realise that for 16 years, I think the longest we'd ever had apart was a week. When I walked into the empty house, yeah. It was very hard.
Damian Sibo was charged with murder but pleaded provocation. The jury agreed and found him guilty of manslaughter only. He was sentenced to a minimum of 8 years jail and is likely to be free next year.
It's a fallacy to think that the killing is just about a person being out of control. So often the killing of women is a ruthless revenge killing. Revenge for the woman asserting her human rights, like her desire to be free of a man, for example.
Women's rights campaigner Phil Cleary knows what it's like to lose a loved one in a brutal crime, only to be told she provoked her killer.
Vicky had parked her car here.
His sister Vicky was killed by her ex-partner Peter Keogh as she arrived for work at a Melbourne kindergarten. How many times did he stab her?
Oh, he would have stabbed her at least a dozen times, He stabbed her in the face, he stabbed her in the stomach several times. I think there'll be 4 or 5 serious wounds to her stomach, and the one that pierced her stomach and cut her liver was the one that ended her life.
I'm trying to explain it. Just cracked.
Soon after, Keogh, still covered in Vicky's blood, claimed she provoked him by swearing at him, an excuse the jury accepted. He got just 3 years and 11 months in jail.
Could anyone believe that he would get 3 years and 11 months in jail? Of course not.
How is it that 12 jurors think that behaviour is acceptable?
The reality is that juries seem to fall for the lie that women are bad, that women are provocative, and sadly, this is told again and again in courtrooms across Australia.
Phil Cleary has become a champion for women who can no longer speak for themselves. Women like 29-year-old Jolene Mills.
The mission today is to locate Jolene Mills.
If anyone knows anything...
7 years ago, Gary Mills pretended to be distraught in this very public appeal for help in the search for his missing wife, the mother of their 2 children.
Loving mum, and full of life, very outgoing. Always cheerful.
It took him 2 weeks to finally tell police where he'd buried Joe's body, wrapped in garbage bags in a shallow bush grave.
The search for Jolene Mills appeared to come to a tragic end late this afternoon, with a body found...
But it was all her fault, he told police. He claimed he lost control after Joe told him she was seeing someone else. During a violent struggle, he tried to suffocate her, then strangled her with an extension cord.
Can you tell me, please, how did she provoke you to the point where you wrapped an electric cord around her neck to strangle her? How did she provoke you that you stuck 2 fingers up her nose? How can you tell me?
Excuse me.
How did she provoke you to do that? What did she do that was so bad that you had to kill her?
He buried her in a bush grave. On appeal, his sentence is reduced. And then he struck off a serious offenders register. I mean, isn't there a moral in the story? Yet again, the poor woman is simply a chattel.
Do you accept that there is a difference between a cold-blooded killer and somebody who responds in a red rage?
I do.
And that they should be treated differently?
I'm not against a judge considering that matter in sentencing in a civilised way. What I'm against is the idea that when you kill the woman in your life, it is not murder.
But attempts to close this archaic legal loophole haven't always worked. Take the case of Luke Mittenorp, who killed his ex-girlfriend, 22-year-old Jade Bounds.
Who the hell is he?
He's my friend.
Shut the hell up!
Get out of there!
Luke repeatedly stabbed Jade at their shared house, later claiming that he was defending himself because Jade came at him with a knife of her own, though no such weapon was found at the scene. Mortally wounded, Jade staggers out of the house trying to escape Mittenorp. Does he call an ambulance? Does he try to help her in any way? No. Instead, he follows her out, stands over her as she's dying and says, "You deserve that, you filthy slut," before he takes off down the street. Jade dies here before help can reach her.
He didn't have a scratch on him. Yet my daughter ends up dead in the gutter.
Shay Beck is Jade's devastated mum. How did you find out Jade had died?
My son was banging on the door. He was sobbing, he was hysterical, saying, "She's dead. She's dead, Mum. Somebody killed Jade." My heart just... I will never forget that. Or the devastated look on my son's face. It was the worst thing a mother could go through.
Mittenorp was charged with the murder of Jade Bounds. He couldn't rely on the provocation defence. It had recently been abolished in Victoria. But he did find a new escape clause, what's known as defensive homicide, where the accused can claim he was defending himself even though he had no reasonable grounds for that belief. And so you don't believe he feared for his life?
Oh, absolutely not. No, the only person that lived in fear was Jade.
But the jury did believe Mittenorp, and instead of facing life in jail, he's likely to be out in just 8 years. And for Phil Cleary, it's as if the law hasn't changed at all. The defence is asking the jurors to judge what a reasonable man would do in those circumstances. You're a reasonable man.
Good men need to ask themselves that question. Is that the kind of ordinary man that I am? Am I the kind of man that would confront a woman in a car park with a knife and stab her to death? Am I the kind of man that would wrap a cord around a woman's throat and strangle her? Am I the kind of man that would stab a woman in the back like Big Mittenorp did? Am I that kind of man? Is that me?
Jennifer Tierney is channeling her grief over the death of her daughter Taryn into changing these outdated and misconceived laws. She's determined that in future, men like Damian Sibo won't be able to kill with such impunity. Will you ever forgive him for that moment of rage?
I can never forgive that people act with such hatred, you know. There's no justification for it, there's no reason for it, there's no excuse for it, and there's no understanding it, really.
Hello, I'm Adam Hegarty. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.